Hey everybody, today we're talking Avengers, Rage of Ultron. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. I'm your host, Brent, and today we're talking Avengers, Rage of Ultron. And yes, this is an old book. It's so old, in fact, you'll probably, if you have an Ollie's discount store near you, you could probably get this guy for like $8. It retailed for $25. So that's where I got mine. There's plenty of them out there. There have been for at least a year. So go to your con, go to your local Ollie's if you've got one, discount store, and pick this one up. That's not to say it's great. It's good. It's entertaining. I read this when it came out digitally, I believe. I got a friend's code on the back when Marvel was doing like their 1-for-1 free digital copies. I'm not sure, they don't do this anymore. I'm not sure if they do it on their single books, but that was like, this was what, 2015, 16? Let's look. Yeah, 15. All right, bingo, got it right on the money, first time. And I thought it was okay. And then I saw it at Ollie's every time I went, because I would go every couple months to check out. Usually they refresh their stock a little bit. And it wasn't until I saw Owen Likes Comics was going to do a video about it that I was actually like, you know what? Let me reread this, and I want to actually own it, because it might be really good. And the only versions they ever printed of this, I believe, were these oversized hardcovers. Like, this is a hardcover. It's a Marvel original graphic novel. They had a couple of these, if you do recall, and it is bigger than a regular hardcover. Here's the Ra's al Ghul One Bad Day version. So yeah, it's a little bit bigger, kind of like your standard oversized hardcover. Let's pull DC Rebirth Deluxe Edition. Same size. This Marvel one's a tiny bit bigger. But yeah. But, it's okay. But I wanted to own it in the oversized just to take a look at it. And rereading it, I kind of sided with myself from my initial reactions. Owen Loves Comics did a great video on it, kind of summarizing his thoughts and why he thought it was great. I disagree. And that's okay. You don't have to like everything that everybody else likes, but I'm just going to give you my thoughts on it. And if you want to go watch his, you can go watch his. He does all the fancy stuff with, cutting in. It never shows his face until the very end of the most recent videos, but he does a lot of panels. He'll show you some panels. He'll go back on the history of Ultron and stuff. I'm just taking this as is. So in 2015, you had Jerome Opeña had finished his little stint on Avengers with Jonathan Hickman, and you had Rick Remender, who was starting to do some Avengers stuff. Axis, I think, had recently come out. That event, Secret Wars had just happened. So you had this weird thing where the villains flipped with the heroes. So that's why Sabretooth is on the Avengers in this book for some reason, because he became a hero because of this Axis event that was also written by Rick Remender. And then this kind of leads into what became the Mark Waid Avengers run with Vision and Captain America, Sam Wilson, and Lady Thor, that kind of thing. Spider-Man. They're all over this book. There's Sam right there. Boom. So this kind of leads into that. I'm not sure if Remender was going to originally do that run on Avengers with Jerome Opeña. This was supposed to be like a big lead-in, but I could see why maybe they didn't do it. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I didn't think the story in here was all that great. And I think that was kind of the run for most of these original graphic novels. They put out a bunch of them at that time. 3 or 4, I believe, and they're all here in the back. If you remember, we had Avengers Endless Wartime. There's covers here, so I'm going to show you. This one in the black and white. That was not the art right here. It has a Chris Bachalo cover, but I believe it had Mike McKone art on the inside. Not bad. Then you had all these Infinity Revelation books with Jim Starlin. There's like 4 or 5 of these, I believe. And then you also had the Spider-Man one where they introduced his sister with the Kingpin in that weird Hawaiian shirt. Was that written by Mark Waid? I believe it was. But anyway, they released a couple of these. None of them were really big hits. They weren't really like, oh man, this is a great format for Marvel or a great story. They were all kind of came and went and just kind of said, oh, I think the only one that got any traction was the Jim Starlin Thanos books, right? So this kind of went away with the line and kind of quietly forgotten about, until I recently saw that No One Likes Comics video. So kudos to him for making me pick it up, reread it, and, do another review about it. Because that's what we do on this channel. We review comic books and movies, and that's about it. So I'll read something and I'll talk about it, and that's about it. You might once in a while get something a little bit different, but mostly reviews. Also, if you're wondering about the audio, it used to be really good. Then I got this new iPhone 15. I bought the damn USB-C connector for it, and all my video apps don't support USB-C mics for some reason yet. So once that resolves itself, the audio will get a lot better. Until then, we're going to trudge through it, I guess. But anyway, back to this book. So you got Jerome Pena on it, right? Maybe for half. The rest of it is fill-ins, or not a fill. It's not a fill-in, is it? If it's an original graphic novel, substitution, maybe an assist, we'll call it, with Pepe Larraz over here in the credits, and Pepe Larraz's art at this point, not great. Just something feels really sophomoric about it, like this page right here. I got the ring light on, so you might not see it very well, but like Giant Man right here just seems very, I don't know, amateurish. It doesn't gel well with Jerome Pena's art, and there are other pages in here that just look a little funky, that don't quite look like they look like they're rushed, quite frankly, honestly, compared to some of the other pages. And the inking style is different. You've got different pencilers, of course, but it says there's one inker. Well, it says additional inks by Mark Morales. So I imagine that Mark Morales is inking Pepe Larraz and Jerome Pena is doing his own stuff, his own inks. I believe that's kind of what he does. So maybe they're trying to get a Jerome Pena type look on Pepe Larraz's stuff, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't gel. Like, this is a great splash page from Pepe Larraz, but, is it Jerome Pena? No. Like, look at Eros' face over here. I don't know, this is just one of those pages that kind of works, doesn't quite work. I'm not in love with it, so... And I would say, like, it feels like a 50-50 split between Pena and Pepe Larraz. And it's not even a split of, like, past versus present. Jerome Pena starts doing a lot of the pages, and then kind of it switches off back and forth, depending on maybe the sequence or something like that. And even then, it's not that planned out. So it feels a lot like Jerome got started, and he, drew the pages he wanted to draw first, and then started on everything in between, and then maybe fell behind on a deadline, and they got in Pepe Larraz to kind of finish it out and get the book out on time. To which I would say, if this is an original graphic novel, then there's no rush, right? But unless this was trying to start up something that they wanted to, and then, they did away with it anyway, and now you have this kind of half-baked, two-parter project with two different artists that just doesn't hold up to the test of time because you didn't wait for your artist. I think, like DVDs and Blu-rays, that's how movies are consumed over time. So the home video version is arguably just as important as the theatrical version because that's how everybody else is going to experience it after that initial, what used to be a 3-month run and now is, who knows, 2 months. Anyway, so yeah, Rick Remender, he's a writer that I've never truly really gotten, I think, maybe. Never truly felt like I liked his stuff. Everything I've read from him seems so far like okay, or maybe was a little bit fun, but he's not somebody that I seek out all the time. And his idea here is a little weird. It seems like we're dealing with Ultron and Hank Pym, and that's obviously the theme that the Owen Likes Comics video latches on to, but there's some other stuff here with Ultron trying to make everybody an Ultron, and that seems to come out of nowhere, out of thin air. Doesn't have any callbacks to any Ultron story that I've read before this. It's like, where did this come from? Like this, you're turning everybody into an Ultron robot zombie? Like, how does that work? It's not set up, it's not explained, it's just, what's going on? Oh, Ultron's got these nanites. they're doing that, and they're like, okay, cool. And you don't spend any time with Ultron to really get the rage of Ultron like in the title. You're just mostly doing this with backstory from Hank Pym, with this flashback that's, you know, the first couple of pages of the issue of the graphic novel, about the first time they tried to kill Ultron. But after that, you really have no insight into his character, I thought. So, yeah. Is it worth $8? I think so. Is it worth $25? Absolutely not. So, those are my kind of general thoughts on Avengers Rage of Ultron. I think it suffers from being a little short, honestly. Like the Rebirth Deluxe Edition's a little bit thicker, although some of that is extras. But, yeah, it feels like it was like 65 pages. Maybe it was 80. But, I don't know, it felt short, honestly. And it just feels a little bit underdeveloped, and maybe they should have not done the flashback story or just picked one, you know, like we're going to do a flashback story instead of why Ultron is so mad, or we're going to do a modern day story and Ultron's coming back because he's really mad, instead of this half and half thing. You know, there's so many times where writers do a half and half storyline, or, you know, multiple time periods, and I'm just like, you know, this book suffered because of that. Just pick one, you know, or make it a freaking two-parter, and one book is one and one book is the other. So many times when you're jumping back and forth between things like you are a little bit in here, I don't know, it just becomes discombobulated. Like, I don't know if comics is made for that all the time, even though some people, you know, think that it is. I will say the format is nice. I do like the larger paper. It spreads out really well. Like this 2-page spread with Sam punching Ultron here is really nice. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of gutter loss. They place the balloons in an area where you're not going to get any. So they are thinking of it as a graphic novel, not just like, you know, a regular page in a comic book, and then you get printed and then you're losing half of a word balloon or something like that. So that's nice. So I guess that's kind of what I have to say about it. So Rage of Ultron, again, if you're interested, beautiful, big hardcover book. If you're a Jerome Pena diehard, check it out. You know, I would say check out your local Ollie's if you've got one in your area. I know in the Southeast they are, you know, kind of all over the place. So you can get it for reasonable prices there. But yeah, don't go seeking this out for $25. Get it on discount. That is for certain. So let me know what you guys thought of Avengers Rage of Ultron down below in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.